Hey everybody, David Alter for Rink Wide Toronto, presented by Bodog, Canada's home for casino games and sports odds where everyone goes to play. And here we are at the Bell Centre in Montreal. And listen, if you've never been to this building, a Leafs-Habs game in Montreal is unlike any other NHL experience you will ever get to see. So my initial recommendation is if you could ever find some time for a weekend trip, this is the weekend. They do have one more weekend trip coming up, though. If you can ever get a chance to experience it, this is where it's at. You really want to be here, and this is why Rink Wide Toronto is at every game for all 82 games this season. All right, so the Toronto Maple Leafs open up their season against the Montreal Canadiens. The Leafs have won their last 5 openers, and Matt Murray, this is where we'll actually get to see what he's all about. Remember, the Leafs made a big risk. They changed their goaltenders, Jack Campbell, Peter Mrazek out, Matt Murray, Ilya Samsonov are in, and we've got an interesting situation with Matt Murray because he struggled with that 906 save percentage last year. The Leafs have a big reclamation project. They feel he can restore that. He was pretty good in the regular season, or make that the preseason. He played 2 of those 3 games against Montreal, and so he's got some familiarity with this team as he makes his Toronto Maple Leafs regular season debut. John Tavares is in. He was questionable a few weeks ago. They said he was going to be out for 3 weeks with an oblique injury, but he is here. He will be in the lineup. The Leafs will dress 20 players to start of the season. Looks like he recovered faster from his oblique injury than even he himself expected. All right, complacency. Montreal is projected to be one of the worst teams. The Leafs last year had a bit of a struggle playing against those teams that were lower in the standings, and Sheldon Keefe even talked about it before the game that that might have cost them some more points in the standings, even though they had a franchise record 115 points. If they played better against those teams like Montreal and Buffalo, they're lumped into that group. Maybe they would have had a bit of a better situation for themselves. So that'll be interesting. Jake Muzzin is going to be an interesting storyline as well. The Leafs have some issues when it comes to the defensive health, I should say. So with Jake Muzzin, he had those 2 concussions. Mentally, he feels like he's in a good place right now. His health throughout the whole season is going to be a question mark. So dealing with back injuries during the preseason was something that came up. He had back surgery when he was 15. Says it's something he's always kind of had to be mindful of. Now a little bit older, that's certainly going to be one of the storylines we're going to watch for this season. And Michael Bunting. So the other night on Insider Trading, they talked about, where is Michael Bunting's future with the Maple Leafs? He's got just this year remaining on his contract. He was on a 2-year, $1.9 million deal. He's obviously found some chemistry with Austin Matthews. So there hasn't been official contract negotiations, and we kind of asked Michael Bunting during the morning skate here if there's been any of that stuff. He says he just doesn't want to be any part of it. He lets his team handle that. But obviously, being a Scarborough kid, he loves playing for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and so that will be an interesting story to watch. On the Montreal side of things, big changes. Marty St. Louis, the head coach for his first full season with Montreal. Nick Suzuki is the captain of this team. It was a choice that a lot of people thought, maybe it might be Brendan Gallagher, but no, they went Nick Suzuki in this situation, looking towards the future. Jake Allen is going to start in goal for the Montreal Canadiens. And Juraj Slafkovsky, this is an interesting one. He is the first overall pick from this previous draft. He's going to make his NHL debut, as will a few others. He said back at the draft combine that his favorite player growing up was Austin Matthews. Austin Matthews made his NHL debut exactly 6 years ago on this date in Ottawa. And of course, who will ever forget, that was 4 goals. The first player to ever score 4 goals in his NHL debut. That's what we're going to watch. It's going to be a very long season, but Rink Wide Toronto, presented by Bodog, is your home for all 82 games, home and road. That's why we're here in Montreal. Make a play at Canada's choice for free casino games, sports odds, and poker strategies. Rink Wide Toronto, pregame, postgame, every game.